Well, good evening, everyone. It's very, very exciting to be back. Tammy and I had an absolute blast. And just as I'm starting here, I am just setting up. Here we go. So I'm going to stop the screen share. Just bear with me here. Speaker and full screen. Beautiful. Well, first of all, we want to welcome you to this Go for Diamonds session this evening. And we have to excuse last Monday. I know Tammy was solo, and thank you, Tammy, for taking a spot. I was in a pretty bad state. And right now doing quite well. And my throat is itchy because I'm having acid reflux. I don't know why right now it has to happen. I think it's that spaghetti with that spicy sauce that I created. Excuses. So we have a very exciting session here for you this evening. And it's actually a really important topic that we want to cover, which has to do with perceptions are reality. But before we start, I know that Max has a promotion that's taking place. And Tammy, as I'm getting the screen up and running.
I was just going to say that you go grab some water and bring up the flyer so I can talk a little bit about the promotion. And what I love is it's really simple. So if you want to just share screen, the flyer.
Yep, I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to change the screen. And here we are.
All righty, go get your water. So most of you probably already know we're always posting and making sure that everybody's got what they need. It's also on the blog. We do have a promotion, which is really great because we really wanted to focus and drive momentum for the 13 weeks that we were talking about from June right up until September. And Max did a promotion around this momentum. Actually, we have promos everywhere going on because there's a lot of activities going on in different parts of the world with Max, which is really exciting. And as you can see here, it's very simple. It's $50 US bonus for every 2 qualifying associate enrollments. And the details are on the website. But basically, if you sign up 2 new people in a qualifying month, you get $50 extra. And there's no limit, which is really exciting. If you happen to have 4 or 6, it's 50 times whatever you have in by 2s. And then $25 USD bonus for every 3 qualifying preferred customers that are enrolled in that qualifying month starting June 1st. So if you've already qualified, because I know Janet, you signed up 2 people, so you've qualified for the $50 bonus. And some of you may have already done it in the group here or anybody who's on Facebook Live that are in North America. As you can see, this is our North America, US, Canada only. Okay. So that's the promo. It's going right up till the end of September. So this is our time to really run with it and earn some extra cash and have some fun at the same time. You're on mute, Chris.
Yeah, want to welcome Luce on the call here also. And Lucy, and I believe that who else just came in? Beth, I hope you're doing better. I heard that you were a little bit sick also, and I hope you're doing well. Good, wonderful, love the thumbs up. Okay, excellent. Okay, so what we want to do here, folks, and again, the topic that we want to cover has a lot to do with the behaviors and the way you may feel around the opportunity, around the product, around the industry of network marketing, around the perception of what you may feel about people around you when you talk about this kind of business. And the reason I decided that Tammy and I decided to cover this evening, Joe talked about it at our Diamond Retreat. We have very small training segments now at our Diamond Retreat. We spent a lot of time team building and socializing and visiting and really absorbed the culture, which was absolutely amazing. Folks, by the way, if you have a chance to go to Ireland, if you've never been, there is so much culture there. There's a lot of history. It is absolutely beautiful and wonderful. This is one of the things that Max does so well, is to host the diamond retreats. I mean, we're talking every single details Jenny has covered. It was just wonderful. Back to the topic of tonight, Joe did a segment on exactly the topic that we want to cover. And one of the things that I'm going to do right now, I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share my screen with you here. And it's really,
And the
really,
first part is interactive, as Chris is putting this up.
okay. So, and it's very important that you keep in mind that it is interactive. Okay. So the lines here, or the microphones are not muted. So I appreciate that all of you have muted yourselves, and feel free to unmute yourself, because this is very, very important. This is the very first slide that Joe shared. And when I looked at it for the first time, I kept seeing
Chris,
one
don't
thing.
give them the answer.
I kept seeing one thing, and there's a perception that we get based on the way we look at things. And what I would like you to do is, while we're sharing here, take a moment, look at that picture, and analyze. Don't tell anybody, don't say anything, don't post anything yet. I want this to keep that for yourselves for the time being. And I want you to think and see and kind of analyze what you see. Go ahead, Tammy.
All righty, so if anybody wants to go first, just unmute your line. I believe there's people watching on Facebook Live. If you want to just write in the chat, what do you see?
I see a horse.
Okay.
And
what is the horse doing?
it's looking sideways. And well, it's like where the face, it looks like a hat with the face, but in that face, I see a horse in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I see something there too, but I see an old man, like
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom, on the right lapel, you know, to our left, I see either like an animal of some kind jumping.
Okay, and on the other side, I can see like a sideways silhouette of a face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
I see
Yes.
the older native man with the cowboy hat, and I'm thinking too, he's got his hair in two pigtail type things, so the hair hanging off the lapel.
Yeah, like a native man. Yeah.
Yeah, an older native man.
Mm-hmm.
oh, and I see like a cougar on a branch on the left-hand side,
Yeah.
like the shoulder. It looks like a leaf
yeah.
or something on the
And
branch.
you know what? I just saw the right on his left side, when it goes in a, you know, like jiggered way, it looks like the face of an ancient man, an ancient, I don't know if it's African or native man, but like way, way ancient. Like they had the long faces, you know, with the, I see the bridge, the ridge of the eyebrow, then it goes down to the nose, then to the lips, to the open mouth, and then the chin.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And on Facebook
Anybody
Live,
else?
I see here, I see, let's see here. Lou says an old person. Luce, you're in both places. Barry Seeley says an old lady and a young woman looking away. Anybody else?
I see a bird looking up at the bottom left of the hat
Mhm.
with a white eye, with a long
Mhm.
beak.
Yeah, with a long beak. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I see that.
now.
And then the eagle just on the shoulder, going off the shoulder. They're just the head or the beak of the shoulder of the eagle. What else? What else?
Yeah, definitely sort of a First Nations influence with the birds at the bottom, and it's a very wise face
Yeah.
that I see. So definitely depicting wisdom.
Mhm.
You know, if we talk about our business, age, but
Wisdom and nature.
See,
Wow, they're
the,
getting detailed, Chris. This is awesome. As we
and
were
you know,
listening. Yeah, go
this
ahead.
is the reality of life, right? And it's the perception that that people have, and it's often one of the reason why when someone look at, for example, the industry of network marketing, you're going to have so many different versions from different point of views based on how they perceive the industry of network marketing, or how they perceive supplements, or how they perceive the industry per se of the MLM, the network marketing, or or even seeing themselves being part of such an industry. And the reality is, if you look at this image and you actually Google it, because I did my research to find out exactly what it was intended to be. And it's basically, you could see a woman, you could see a man with a base with a hat, right, a cowboy hat, looking on the side. And it just happened that the chin of the younger guy is basically the nose of the old man. And you can see here the nose, you can see the mouth right here. If you look at it, this is the mouth.
Yeah,
This is the
true.
nose.
Yeah, I see it now.
You see how clear it is now?
Yeah.
And the chin is down. It could be a man or a woman,
The
right?
chin is down, right? And yeah, it could be a woman, it could be a man looking sideways, right? But that's the, when I look at the description of this image, and there's so many examples of it, and every one of them, it came very quickly, except for this one. I had to stare at it to look for the old man, and suddenly, poof, I see it clear as day.
Mhm.
And one of the things that Joe wanted to kind of illustrate with this is, often one of the reasons why leadership in teams, in team support, is so important, is to help people to point out the different areas, to identify what it is that we're looking at, to have a clear, precise vision. See, there is, for example, why is it that some folks have reached a crown diamond and some folks have been struggling for decades, right, to even maintain the bronze and silver? A lot of it has to do with perception, how we feel towards this business, how we feel towards this industry, and our level of belief, which this is what we want to talk about. And the point here is, that is truly what this image is designed to represent. It's a younger man, technically, that's what it says. And the chin of the younger man is the nose of the old man. And you're right, I also saw a bird. Yeah, please go ahead.
And the interesting part is Chris and I both saw something totally different, even as a couple, and he couldn't see what I could see. I ended up seeing both, but he still couldn't see that up until we got home. Because when you put your mind to something, it is the way it is. And what's important is to more openness of the creativity of all of this. And Marie Paul, I mean, you were just nailing down the creativity
Yes.
in all of this.
And Luce also got it right away. And I
think Luce, yeah.
I think
and not all of us do, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we have a certain way, and this is the way, and this is all that we're seeing in the moment, because we're just not opening ourselves to other possibilities. And Mireille, you were talking about, I saw a fur coat here, and you saw the braids of maybe a native And I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you guys are so awesome. But
And now
But-
I can't see that anymore. I see the younger man that you guys have pointed out. Now the older, wiser native man is gone.
Mhm.
And you know what?
Interesting.
In the white space of his face at the upper part, I see a lion with the, you know, the
Ah.
lion's hair, like going to the left.
Cool.
Mm.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's where I saw the horse.
Okay.
Yeah.
The nose is like
Yeah. Like a,
the horse,
know,
and the top part is like the hairs of the horse.
But just so you know that the whole purpose of this image is young and old. Is the young person from the profile on the side,
Yeah.
and there's the old man. You can see here the
Yeah.
nose, you can see the mouth. Does everybody see that? You
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
see the mouth here. You can see the nose right over here. You can see the eyes tired. You can see his chin is kind of looking down like this,
Mhm.
right? And that's his hat. And then this one here is looking at the profile, right? Or you can go like this, whatever. All right. And
but you
that
know
would
what
be his.
what else I see? You know, like
Mhm.
his lapels and all the black part of it. I see people hanging into his every words because he's wisdom, right? He's sharing wisdom. So I see in the middle, I see a woman sort of in the middle in between the blacks there. I see a woman, you know, hanging into his every word. And so there's a whole lot of people hanging into him. But that's just me.
And that's
Or a
fine.
hot cowboy.
Or it could be a hot cowboy. But you know, so
Oh,
the
too
fact
funny.
here is, you see, but that's what this is designed to represent. It's an old and young. That's what if you do the Google search and looking for face sketches, eventually you'll find it, because it's not the first one that will appear. And that's what it says. And basically, the chin of the younger person is the nose of the older man over here, or the other, it could be an older lady, really. And that's the point. And that's the thing that perception is all about. See, perception is merely a lens or a mindset from which we view people, events, and things. In other words, we believe what we perceive to be accurate from our point of view. And we create our own Jesus, the word is not coming very well. Reality based on those perception. And although our perceptions feels very real, that doesn't mean they are necessarily factuals. For example, you look at this gentleman, from his point of view, he sees a 6. From his point of view, he sees a 9. They're both right. And it's unfortunate that, you know, sometimes our governments, I don't want to get political, but you know, if you look at, you know, for example, the Republican and the Democrats, I mean, they both have good points, both of them. But again, it's just sometimes what's happening is that ego, and you know, and often what happens, it'll come across if you try to get someone to look at this business venture, at this opportunity, you see it from a point of view, and someone else looks at it from a different point of view. And sometimes it's difficult to kind of find a common ground that we can both see the same thing, so we can move along within the same direction. And that's what this image represent. And that's what Joel's message was when he talked to all the diamonds around the world that were there at the event, is that how can we work around and resolving those things? Well, first of all, is to recognize the perception that someone has acquired or has kind of like cultivated from their upbringing, from their education, right? And it starts with the perception, which builds into a belief. And when it builds into a belief, then it's part of your thoughts. And when it's part of your thoughts, then what's going to happen is you'll have action and reaction that was initiated from that perception, which could start from a very young age. So perceptions are reality from that person's point of view. And one of the things that's very important that contribute to partisans' perception. These are perception that are not necessarily the right perception that could lead into misconception, right? And a lot of it has to do with, for example, Tammy, did you want to add something else to all of this?
I had a thought earlier, but that's good. We're good.
Okay, so the point here to help us deal with the perception of, for example, can we do business in Canada? Should we do business in Africa? Can we do business in the United States? And what happens is sometimes we build perceptions and we start believing these beliefs that it doesn't work over here, or whatever, whatever scenario that you might have sold yourself. Because I'm guilty of that. We're guilty of these things. But one of the things that we're realizing, it's false data. It's absolutely false data. And the reason why I know this is because as we are mingling, Tammy and I, with the millionaires of this industry, with the mastermind, with the Eric Worre team, which on Wednesday, we have another team leadership with all the 6-7 figure income earners with the company. A lot of them are Canadians. A lot of them are Americans. And some of the richest network marketers actually happens to live in Canada, happens to live in the United States. Isn't that interesting? But what is it, the perception that you believe in? And often that experience and observation can come from bad data, an observation that we're concluding that is not necessarily the right information we should be looking at, right? And a lot of it also has to do with the fact that we might be interested in different things, right? And for example, I come from an approach where I've always built this business as a business entity. I was not very strong in a customer aspect of things. Do I believe in customers? Absolutely, I do, because that's the foundation, it's the spine, it is the blood flow of our organization. But I understand that customers are fickle, and customers are not going to go out there and bill, but they'll consume, but they're fickle. They go on, they go off, they go on, they go off. Where an associate, on the other hand, will commit. One is because you want to qualify, but two, also they understand the value of the product. So it's a combination of the two. So that's always been my particular approach on how I go about doing things. Is it bad to focus on customers? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I do believe in the balance of things. And it's one of the reasons probably that we've always done well in this kind of business. That's why we've made a living out of this business. And when I say make a living, folks, let's be frank. I mean, we've made millions. And every one of you can do this. This is the reason why the call tonight is so important, because it has to do with your perception. Do you believe? Do you believe you can build a network in Canada? I'm telling you, absolutely you can. Can you build a network in the United States? Absolutely. One of the most powerful countries in the world. The consumption is massive. Even though we're dealing with a massive inflation, still people spend every day. And we have such a solution to such a common problem. Tammy, I want to give you some space here if you want to share a few things.
You can easily change your perception when you have more data. I think that's important that you learn from people who, I'm not saying you, I'm just talking generalize. If we all learn from people who are getting results, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's network marketing or whatever it is out there. Eric Worre always talks about it. So did Jim Rohn. Surrounding yourself with who you surround yourself, your environment is who you become, right? So you want to get into an environment that's going to shift that perception if you're in a state where you need to make some shifts. And these are things that I've always had to work on. growing in this profession, because I came from a traditional business background, and it's a different concept, right? As a business owner, you're the boss. You know, as a network marketer, you're independent but interdependent, and it's just different. And so you have to adapt and find out what others, what is working for others, that you can maybe make some shifts in that perception. See, when Murray Paul started to pick some details out of that, whatever that picture was for everybody, I started to see different ways, you know. So I think as a team overall, to elevate our North American market as a team, I think it's important that we understand each other and see and understand what each other sees, the perception of what's out there, and how do we make those shifts in that. Would all of you agree that we have a difficult time connecting with people who believe in the network marketing profession? So how do we create that shift is the big thing. How do we get the prospect to see? Obviously, you want to understand where they come from, because often, if you look at go back to the picture, Chris. Another picture, sorry, the next one. You know, they've already had their set. No, Chris, the second slide.
Tammy, these are the slides. So
the second one, you've got the picture, and then you've got, sorry, the third one. There we go, stay there. The
okay, you needed to be
perceptions.
Perception or reality. Okay,
yeah,
sounds
good. And that is to understand where people are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best way to build relationships with every single person that you're talking to, is finding out where the pain is, because obviously they have a perception about the industry of network marketing, or a perception about products, you know, supplements don't work, or whatever it is. And for us to be able to have that understanding, and once you understand first before you're understood. All right. Once you establish that, then people are more open, because they just want to share what's going on, right? So you can easily get people to see your point of view and the value and all the things. Eventually, some people are longer than others, but that will shift their beliefs on the industry. They'll have a different thought process around how this could work for them, which may turn into an action of wanting to dig further into this.
And you know, Tammy, you touch on some really important points here, and the book from Stephen Covey, the highly habits of the
Number
7
4
highly
is
habits.
think win-win. That's number 4.
No. I understand. The highly habits. My God, the title.
7 habits of highly effective people.
The 7 habits of highly effective people from Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
And this is something that Tammy touched on. Something is learn to understand first, and then be understood. Folks, every single wars in the world from the beginning of time could be avoided just with that simple concept. Learn to understand first, then be understood. And most of the time, people want to be understood before understanding the problem. This is so profound when I read this. And one thing that I highly recommend, if you really truly want to be successful, because I know many of you are working hard in your Max business. If you truly want to have success, you need to educate yourself in certain areas to help you work that perception that you have in life. Because if you're able to be in a position to really understand your prospect, doesn't matter if their product aren't interested or they're not interested in the opportunity, all of that is irrelevant. As long as you understand what matters to them, what is important to them. And this is one of the very first things that I know I do when I speak to a leader, is I'm trying to understand who they are and what they want. From that point of view, then I can turn around and provide solutions. But it's not solution based on my agenda that I want them to sign up to build my business. Yes, it's part of the process for sure. But I truly want to make sure that the person that's enrolling with us, with me, for example, that I'm going to serve that person. That is the core, my core belief inside. And these are some of the things that I think all the time. What can I provide? What can I do to help this person get to where they want to be, where they want to get? Now, it's up to them to do the steps, to do the work. And many of those people that we've had an opportunity to mentor, Tammy and I, have done those things, and they've gone to the ranks. They've gone to the income. So at the end of the day, you can't take responsibility for someone's results. That is not your stuff. And that's another thing that's really important in the perception of reality. It's often when people are not necessarily trained or used to mentor others, what happens is they take personally the lack of results. And then they take this and they blame themselves and not being adequate enough. And it's not fair to you, because you don't live with that person. You don't know what that person will or will not choose to do. But the very first thing that you could do is understand their perception, and not just assume that they only want about the product, or they just want to make money. And then what's going to happen is that belief could change from the person's perspective on the industry based on your approach. Tell me, how many times have we spoken to someone that says, you know what? I never really thought of it that way until I spoke to you guys. How many times?
Often, very often.
And this, you see, and this has to do with the fact that understanding what the perception was on the topic. We understand that in North America, there is a huge perception that lacks data. And this is what these slides, excuse me, my computer's moving slowly, right? Is to collect evidence to support prior views. And sometimes we need to either ignore or dismiss non-conforming data that have built that belief. But all of that could actually be worked upon if there is a conversation by understanding them first before you can be understood. And that's why, Tammy, I wanted to underline that, because it is such an important, profound concept that I read, I don't know, about 15 years ago when I first read the book, the seven highly effective,
Seven habits of highly
effective people. Thank you. Right. And
yeah,
this
John,
is
not John C. Maxwell.
no. This is Stephen Covey.
Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I highly recommend to pick up that book if you don't already have it. It's been a while since Chris and I have read that book.
While. My brain is still foggy from last week, but anyway, we're coming out of it. So what's happening here is sometimes we need to adjust the data that we have been prone to believe based on what we were exposed to. And this is something that occur when we work as a team, when we have these conference calls, when these mentorship occurs. You know, another thing that Tammy talked about is there's a difference between being independent and interdependent. Huge difference. So there's some people very independent, very capable, but unfortunately the interdependency is ignored. Not understanding that an independent person could do so much more if there was a better habit of interdependence, understanding I could do it all by myself, but I could become so much more by doing what I do by myself, but by also having support. How does that translate in our business? Anybody has a clue?
Chris, it was interesting at the event, you know.
But just before, Tammy, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to make sure that we don't overcome this one. We don't pass this one. This is really important. So what is the one step? I'll come back to that, Tammy. What is the one step in our business that encourage interdependency? Anybody?
Third-party credibility would be one.
Say again?
Third-party credibility would be one.
Bingo. Third-party credibility. And what I found, especially in the last two and a half years, almost 3 years now, it's almost like that interdependent aspect of the business, which is probably the most important aspect of the business, is ignored. And I see a lot of folks doing things independently, and that third-party credibility is lacking. And this is something I highly, highly, highly recommend. I'm glad you brought this up, my Paul. Many of you maybe were thinking about it, you just weren't sure, you didn't say it. But that third-party credibility is the foundation of interdependency. You can do it by yourself, but if you team up with other members to complement and support your efforts, you become so much more. And that was my point. So Tammy, sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to make sure that we
No, I didn't realize you were going into a question there. So yeah, just as Chris was talking about that, it just brought me back to the room of the leadership event when we were having these discussions. And what came out of all of this was over time, because of, I think, the pandemic, and, you know, people are home, they're becoming more independent. We weren't coming together like we used to. And I think that was a big realization in that event was, if we come together, if we create that togetherness with all of these top leaders that were in that room, what can we do? How can we make this bigger? And we all left Ireland on fire, on knowing exactly what we need to do on our part, but also coming together as a unit. So you're probably seeing that a lot more now in the events that are being created. People are coming together. They're, you know, a team group might not be just one person or a specific team. It's a group of people coming together with a common goal, a common mission, a common purpose of getting Max International out there into the world. And yeah, it was a really fabulous training, and that picture really brought into perspective the perceptions that everybody has. And we are different. We're all different, and we all need to be understood. And coming together, we can be stronger if we understand each other. So
You're absolutely correct. I mean, and you know, as we come into an end of this discussion, I didn't want to make it too long in case I start coughing like crazy again, but it's behaving nicely. So, you know, and there's A's belief and there's B's belief, and And the fact is, all of this is based on assumption and conclusion and explanations and evaluation from the past. So to understand the data, and we can selectively decide what should we dismiss and what should we kind of reinforce. And as a team, we can really achieve that, because A and B can have a complete different point of view. But to discuss as a team and to discuss this through third parties and discuss this through barbecues and events that we're planning to reinitiate so we can get together again. In some cases, I understand that some of you may be far and some of you may be proximity. We'll work on all these things as we move forward. But this is very important that we constantly stays in communication. And I know that I'm not there at all, but I watch, the attendance of many of you attending, the accountability calls. And I noticed that our team in Ghana, in Nigeria are participating, and some are coming back. And these are some of our diamonds and some of our platinums and diamonds to be. And this is beautiful. And that's what I'm talking about. And this is the start. So what's really interesting is the steps are taken. But the fact is, we need to expand. We can't just limit this to 2, 3, 4, 5. This has to keep growing. You got to invite, you got to encourage your team to be part of this. Not just you show up. Invite your team members. And if you think that it's not for them, again, you're making a decision that could be hindering the growth of your organization. And that's key here. And this is the whole message of tonight's training is together we can help each other see clarity on a certain direction in a vision so we can all get there. And I do understand that not everybody wants the same things, and that is totally understandable. That's what makes us so beautiful, is we each have different desires in life. So the goal is not to impose a desire that we have that you may not want, but you may want to have maybe, excuse me, part of this desire, right? To change certain things in your life. Tammy was showing me earlier this amazing picture from this. Was that a hotel room, Tammy, or was it a house? I mean,
oh my gosh, I think it was somewhere in the Maldives. It was beautiful. This guy, he had the whole, everything was open. So obviously sliding doors, open
concept,
to,
water view,
oh
bath, kitchen
gosh,
table,
yeah.
living room was all like just kind of, it was just to die for. But you see, that's the thing, folks, is we live in this beautiful world. And unfortunately, I would say that a majority of human beings have chose to believe the lie that it's not you. It's this is not enough, and you can't afford it, and you can't do this, and hey, inflation, blah 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 blah. Go get a job, and you chose to believe the lie. And the reality is, abundance is your birthright. This is your birthright. You do not need to be bonded in chains with this I don't want to this economy, this lie. They are so much more available to you. But for that, we need to break free from that perception. And to break free from that perception, we need to educate ourselves. We need to stay together. We need to help the team to see the big picture, how beautiful the world is. You're not limited to your area code for the rest of your life till you die. That is not true. There's so much more to life. But for that, we need to keep educating and keep inviting. And this is what this industry has brought into our lives. It has opened the gateway of this job jail environment that Tammy and I chose to break free from decades ago. We want all of this for you. And there's a lot of folks, even though they are in disbelief and they will fight you to the death to keep their jobs, and not saying they need to quit their jobs, but it's because of that perception, the fear. And the best way to overcome these things, or to help someone that you might be talking about this venture, is to work as a team, and for you to team some of those folks to people that are actually living the life that I'm telling you about. I'm not trying to vent. We want to help you. And for that, we need to work as a team. And Myra Paul, you said it earlier, third-party credibility is the foundation to it all, to help you be interdependent. Every single one of you know your stuff when it comes to the product and even the compensation plan. Even though you may not believe so, trust me, you know it all. But if you have that third party to support your efforts, things could change for you so much. You're absolutely correct, Sue. Job is just over broke, and always be and always will. And the people in power likes you that way. And I'm not trying to put down these folks. At the end of the day, they also have to break free from this environment. Now they're on the other side of the fence. You can be too. And this industry, I don't know if you can see my passion when I'm saying this. I believe it so badly, I can taste it. And we're living it. But it has to start from you and your perception. And that perceptions may need to be adjusted. And its adjustment will come through education, books, third-party credibility, because all of this information will come out through the conversation. Absolutely correct. Tammy?
Yeah, just if you're happy where you are, it's totally different. But if you are looking for more, and I know that you guys are showing up, week after week after week. And my guess is because you want to get to another level. How many of you would like to get to another level in your business? Okay. How many of you would like to be a diamond leader in this company? It's a great place to be. And it requires teamwork. It requires sometimes some shifts here. I can tell you just in the past week, I know some of you have been sick, and you understand. In the past week, when you're feeling the way you're feeling, it's not easy to get out of it. Would you agree? Even though Chris and I are feeling better, and we're like, hey, we got good tests, and all this stuff. And then waking up this morning, it was like, you just don't know where to go. It's a weird place to be. But then you have to get back. You have to get back to who you were and what you want to do and what things you want to have. You just got to get back to that zone. However long it's going to take, days, whatever, you got to get back into the saddle, get back into the game. And we're going to be tested all the time, whether it's a virus or something else. We're always going to be tested. Every single one of us are being tested every day.
Hey,
and
Tammy,
we all have choices every single day.
Did you
We
throw
have
away
choices.
did you throw away our antigen test?
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to show them that bar that we were negative, but hey.
Oh,
okay.
shoot. Oh, well. So, but the bottom line is, I think, did anybody see my Instagram reel today? I'm sitting out on the waterfront, and this was in that zone. This is where I was. I needed a mindset reset. And I said there was 3 things that we needed to do, right? And it was awareness. I was in the moment aware that I wasn't in a good space coming out of a virus. I need to get my mindset back checked. number one. And number two, I need to make that decision right then and there that I'm going to shift that. Because if I don't shift it, I could be going on like this for weeks, if not months. You understand? We all go through this stuff, whether it's a virus or not. And then I need to take action on it. So I came back. I did have a nap, I have to say, because we did a long walk, but I got right back into it. And I've reset. And if I have to take naps in between to get there, that's what I need to do. So you have to look at where you're at and see what are the adjustments that all of you need to do. Every single day you need to reset. I don't care what anybody says. Every day we have to reset our mindset. First thing in the morning.
Well, the
Knowing
fact
what you
here
want,
that's
where
really
you want to go with
important.
all of this, what actions do you need to take, and the results. What are the results that you want to accomplish at the end of the day? And you do this day in and day out, and you'll see.
So the
that
fact
you'll
here that
start going
Tammy is
up and
sharing,
up.
which is absolutely correct, folks, what's really important is you need to be conscious that you can't just wake up every single day and just go about doing the same routine that you've been doing for the past 20 years of your life if you want to have changes. I would recommend, if you're a reader, pick a book every day or every week. I don't know how fast you read, and educate yourself, but don't start reading some romance. I'm not, what I'm talking about here is personal growth that has to do to help your mind see. This is something that if you do, it will change your life. You want to be a diamond in this business? I highly recommend you educate yourself when it comes to how to make friends and influence people from Gail Carnegie, right? I know many of you might have read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, from Stephen Covey, right? John C. Maxwell, The 5 Levels of Leadership. It's important that you educate yourself in these areas, because when you do, you will address yourself in a certain way. You will communicate in a certain way that will be different from others. And it will get people to be literally genuinely interesting in what you have to say, or even follow you, because you have content that helps people see better. Go back to that image to help the team to point out the areas to see clearly what the picture represent. In other words, the vision, what we're trying to accomplish, what we're trying to do, what this industry can do for you. But if every day you wake up and you don't pick up one book, you don't read one page, nothing will change for you. So you've got to change your perception, and to change your perception, you got to change the data. And the data, in some cases, may actually overwrite the old data that will give you a better perspective. And when you speak to prospect, you'll be in a complete different environment. That ecosystem that you have will change. The people in your life will change. Prospects will change. The people that are interested in what you have to say will change because of the way you are communicating. And I'll keep in mind also is interdependency. It's great to be independent, but you can be independent and hitting your head against the wall for the rest of your life. And it might be just little tweaks, little things that could be adjusted, that can completely change the colors of your ecosystem, that can change everything. And then suddenly, even though you did all the work, but now you've introduced interdependency within your method of operation, you can change everything. That's kind of the summary of today's training program. And I hope that was helpful. And is there any comments or feedback that anybody wants to share? Maybe I missed something. No, I think everything was covered here. Thank you, everybody, for participating when it comes to teamwork. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
And
Into
Chris, we're
last
gonna get
words.
on the, well, go ahead, Janet.
Yeah, I just wanted to share. I signed up a new associate and he really inspired me because before he signed up, he said to me that he loves MLM because it's a relationship business and he owns 3 traditional businesses. And he said that his businesses are all based on relationships. And he shared the story about he has a cabinet refinishing business and he's got a staff of 17 people. And he said he started off by going into the Benjamin Moore store and creating relationships with all the staff. And some of those staff actually became part of his production line. And now he's got 17 people. So I thought that was kind of amazing. And he keeps saying to me, and this kind of sticks out, he says, Janet, it just takes one person. It just takes one person. Sometimes you could be in an environment where you feel really defeated and you're getting a lot of no's, but then you just meet that one person. And I felt that standing at the Shirkston market, you know, talking to hundreds of people. Then I meet this one person who's very receptive. So it's kind of cool. It just kind of gives you a different kind of perspective of not giving up. And it just, when he said that, it kind of reminded me of you guys, because like whoever found you guys, you're like that one person. So that's what we're continuously doing.
That is wonderful contribution.
Mhm.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you, Janet. Really appreciate that.
And congratulations on signing him up. Is that Kevin?
Yes, Kevin Coyle.
Awesome, awesome. I'm
Well
looking
done.
forward to chatting with him Wednesday night.
Yeah,
Beautiful,
he's
beautiful.
really excited. He sees it. And actually, I met another girl. You know how I did that raffle basket?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I actually delivered it to her yesterday. Yeah, because she won. And she sent me a message and I said it was great to connect with you. And I sent her a Celjevity link. And she said, awesome, thanks, Janet. So nice to connect yesterday. I will definitely check out that link. I'm having my drink now in my Starbucks cup, LOL. And I will report back. And I think becoming an associate is what I will be doing to move forward. Have a great week. I'll be in touch. And I only had one brief conversation with her and then I delivered the gift basket. And from that gift basket, we stood there and talked an hour. But it was kind of cool because that was Kevin's contact. She's actually a cabinet maker with her husband and a high-end like interior designer. So I'm kind of getting exposed to different people now. It's kind of interesting.
Well done.
And that's
Well done.
because
You
you've
gotta-
set up a booth. You know, you're back out there, you're back out in the game and making those connections. So stay on. Chris, actually, do we have to go out or can you just stop the recording?
No, I'll start the recording and sign off to carry on to other
Okay.
things. And I'm
Yeah.
going to let you continue, Tammy.
Okay, perfect. Because
Okay,
I
everybody.
wanted to spend just a few minutes. I don't want to take a lot of your time because